All right, here we go. Finally back again. Looks like Jeff's cracked a fetch here, down to 19.
He's going to lead off with a carry added. Going to pass back to Jessy, who used a Temple of Triumph on turn 1. And now he has an island and a pass back to Jeff.
Yep.
So Jeff going to be able to ramp here into a Thunderbreak Regent, but there's also a consideration if he just wants to play his Courser of Prefix, which I think he has in his hand. I would probably take that line. But he is going to play a Thunderbreak Regent, pass back to Jessy. Just trying to get aggressive.
Yeah, must really want to apply the pressure early on.
Jessy going to play a Mana Strider, and I can't imagine attacking here.
Doesn't seem good. You don't want to trade your 3/3 for a 4/4.
There's another dragon for Jeff, so he's going to fetch, go to 18. Probably pick up a mountain here, play a Stormbreath Dragon, and attack in for 8. So pretty aggressive start here from Jeff.
Now, Jesse's definitely not going to give up the Mantis Rider in the block here, right?
Oh, no, I don't. No way.
Jeff comes in with both dragons. You just let it through.
He's not going to chump right now.
Sure.
Sure enough, there's a dragon. There's 8 damage. Jessy going to be down at 12.
Once again, a fairly aggressive start from Mr. Rasmussen here as he deploys the dragon army.
Well, having like turn 3 Thunderbreak Region, turn 4 Stormbreath Dragon is pretty good.
Yeah, very true.
Jessy going to play a 4th land. He does have a Stoke the Flames in hand, but it will cost him 3 life points to kill either one of these dragons. And
that's I think where it really gets you.
Yeah. Going to play a Seeker of the Way, the all-star from last game. Attack Jeff for 3 down to 15. And now he's going to stoke the Stormbreath Dragon. So, provided Jeff remembers his trigger, which it does not look like he did.
I have confirmation.
All right.
Yeah.
Going to hit Jessy down to 5. Imagine he's going to play this Courser of Prefix that's been in his hand for a while. The top card.
Another Courser.
Imagine keeping that one. Imagine you want to scry that one or fetch that one out. Fetch that one away. So I would use my fetch land here if I was Jeff, if I wanted to get rid of that Courser. That way I can use my scry land and put stuff I don't want on the bottom next turn.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, then can't we deploy the second Courser, potentially fetch, and gain net 2 life?
That's definitely a consideration. So Jeff going to scry here. Looks like he is going to keep the Courser on top. Nope, ship it to the bottom.
Interesting.
That's Haven, so that's pretty good actually. It's a Stormbreath Dragon that's in his graveyard. You can get that card back. Got enough mana to cast it again, too.
Sure.
Jessy with a 5th land.
It's a foil Shivan Reef.
It is, and that's a Sarkin.
Wow.
He's going to kill the Courser.
Yep.
And then he's going to attack in for 6. Jeff, I imagine, going to take it. Doesn't really have any good blocks.
Yep.
Going to go down 10. Jessy should go up to 8. Jeff going to draw Haven.
Now he's got to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah. Haven costs 2 to activate.
I believe so.
So he has... doesn't have enough mana to use it this turn, but he's going to play an Elvish Mystic. Imagine attack. Attack Sarkin. Play a Haven and pass back. Jessy going to untap. Jessy has 3 cards in his hand, Lightning Strike being one of them. So if he has another burn spell and Jeff doesn't block the Seeker of the Way, which I can't imagine is going to be the case.
Sure.
Jeff's going to be on the hook for dead. Also has a Narset in hand.
It's kind of the position he found himself in last game, too, is the Seeker of the Way turned out to be just an all-star.
Yeah.
If Jeff doesn't have removal for it, it just goes crazy.
Jeff's kept a bunch of hands with just like dragons in them and not a lot of interaction.
Yeah, very true.
So if you're Jessy, you know he's getting Stormbreath Dragon next turn. You get a fire in there. I mean, if you're Jeff, you have to block Seeker of the Way.
Right.
Just going to Lightning Strike Jeff. Put him to 7. Trigger Seeker. If he has Stoke, he's just dead.
Yep.
So that that carry added is dead. Jeff's going to go up to 11 off the Seeker damage. Jeff going to sacrifice Haven to the Spirit Dragon on end step and get back a Stormbreath Dragon. There's a Wild Slash, which isn't a bad one here.
It's a good top deck.
Jeff now going to attack, put him to 7. Jeff going to tap his Elvish Mystic. It seems...
It's a little worrisome.
Yeah. Stoke Jeff.
Stoke him, that's it.
Kill him. Yeah, I guess Stoke kills him either way.
Right, just
So
off the top.
The only removal spell that's going to kill the dragon is Stoke.
Yep.
So Jessy Hefner going to win 2 games to 0.
It's pretty impressive. Top deck Stoke. I mean, that's what you need. Your opponent's at 4. They're playing green-red. They don't have access to the blue counter magic.
Can't complain with that, man.
No, you're not really going to worry too much about that. So that was fairly interesting. The way those decks interacted. You kind of touch on it a little bit, but just the way that Jeff's deck really had no way to kind of compete against Jesse's. You know, it was...
Yeah, he kept a lot of like land heavy hands too, and in game 2 he kept a land heavy hand. Didn't really draw too much action, so that kind of hurt him because Jessy, drew some decent interaction for the couple of cards that actually mattered in the matchup, which was like the Stormbreath Dragon and then like Courser. So, yeah.
Interesting. That was, fast
Got
game.
one guy draws spells, one guy draws lands. Typically, the guy who draws spells is going to win, provided he can cast those spells.
Very much so. And it's something we've seen at F&M a lot too. And I know I touched on it game 1, where people get really aggressive with Stormbreath Dragon and don't think about holding it back and using its pro-white feature against the life-linking pumpability of a Seeker of the Way, against the potentially dangerous, hasty, then tap for Stoke to Flames, kill you, Mantis Rider. I mean, these are all like fairly...
Yeah, especially in that situation where it doesn't change the clock at all.
Right. You might as well keep it.
He's going to die
back,
anyways unless he has like the Stoke to Flames, but you're dead to that card anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's just, and that's an interesting line. Like, you don't know if you can just get through there or if your opponent has a bunch of non-creature spells that they can cast to eventually kill you.
Yeah.
But the Narset set on the field is definitely helping your opponent draw through extra cards.
Sure.
As well as the double anticipate that we saw earlier in the game. Pretty aggressive.
Yeah, it's an interesting list from Jessy. I know Todd Anderson took Anticipate out of his deck, but he was playing more of like a tokens deck. This aggro deck.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Anticipate and cards we hope to see today, we can go to our standard blue playmakers.
Let's do it.
And check those out for a little bit. So, guys, as you saw, if you tuned into SCG Regionals, you can kind of see the fun that we like to have here and do a standard playmakers list. Above on the top row, you see probably some of the most notable blue cards, mono blue cards in standard currently. Obviously your suite of counter magic, Dissolve, Disdainful Stroke, Negate.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the cards that you are currently playing or that are seeing a lot of play.
Yeah, they're just your counter spells in the control decks, and then counter spells in these like Jeskai decks. So not a surprise to see the major blue cards, mono blue cards, being all pretty much counter spells.
Yeah.
And then Pearl Link Ancient, which
who's your Aetherling of the format, if you will, your heavy hitter, easy for control decks to use, being able to flash him in, being able to bounce him out, and being able to even pump him with lower cost spells later in the game to make him a big threat, hard for other decks to block. I mean, blue has to have a creature like that, almost in every standard format.
Yeah, definitely just something to break the control mirror. That's ideally what you're looking for.
So let's talk about our picks. The other part of the standard playmakers that we like to do is generally focus on cards that haven't seen a lot of play or may see some fringe play. And we'd like to just bring them to everyone's notice, get them out there, see if people decide they want to play something. Maybe you find a cool card. So you have Silumgar's Sorcerer and Profaner of the Dead.
Totally.
All right. Go ahead. Hook us up.
Both of these
Knowledge
cards
me.
are sweet.
Okay.
Silumgar Sorcerer is like pretty sweet. Like he's Essence Scatter on a stick.
Yep.
He costs 1 more mana, but you also get the ability to just flash him in and play a 2/1 flyer, or you can like sacrifice one of your dumb guys that you played before him. Say like if you're playing mono blue, maybe Hypnotic Siren or a Gadul Lurker or maybe a Frostwalker. No, I guess you can't target Frostwalker.
Nope.
Fine, Omen Speaker.
Oh, there you go.
Something like that.
That's one.
Master of the Waves token.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think like one of the issues that like a mono blue deck would have right now is it just doesn't have very good ways to interact with the board at all.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be your kind of sort of way to interact, but also it has 2 blue pips and it counters creature spells, which is I think the major hurdle for the mono blue deck right now.
Not only that, it's providing a 2/1 flyer and 2 blue devotion, which seems huge. So I'm on you with that one. I like Silumgar Sorcerer. I think that's really sweet.
Yeah, I think it's a sweet card.
So
I imagine we'll see some actual constructed play.
What about your Profaner of the Dead?
So Profaner of the Dead is an interesting sideboard card, I think. It's pretty nuts against tokens.
Okay.
Like just Cyclonic Rifts all their tokens against the token deck. So I think it's a decent sideboard card there.
Sure.
And then if you have played any of the like sealed or draft format with these cards, Mirror Mastery plus Profaner of the Dead is a combo.
Yeah.
You essentially get to bounce everything that has 3 toughness or less every single turn because
that seems all right.
To attack and then make the copy and then sack the copy to itself. Yeah, it's pretty insane.
So this was another card that after we kind of set up the standard playmakers and we were doing the picks, this was a card I read, and I had to admit, like, it kind of grew on me the more I thought about it. It's definitely an interesting card. I don't know if I like paying 4 mana for it.
Yeah, it's definitely an expensive card, but I think it has its merit. It's probably pretty good against mono red too.
Sure.
You can bounce their board most of the time.
Okay.
So sacrifice itself, bounce their board. It doesn't seem awful.
Not bad.
And then I think if you're playing mono blue or something like that, where you got a bunch of bad cards that are at your 1 and 2s that you can get rid of potentially.
Yeah.
So
all right. I'm okay with it.
It's less good then because you just exploit for toughness. So if you exploit Hypnotic Siren, you're only bouncing things with 1. But if we're exploiting Omen Speaker, whoo boy.
Yeah.
That's 3.
It seems good. Seems all right. All right.
Let's move on to you, man.
What do I got?
Here? I got some real stinkers.
Come on. Those aren't even that bad. Stratus Dancer's a sweet card.
No, Stratus Dancer's legit.
I think Stratus Dancer's a cool card. And just like in the vein of your Silumgar Sorcerer, I think both you and I are looking for just more value out of our counter spells. We want a little bit more, whether it's producing a 3/2 flyer that counters an instant or sorcery spell, or whether it's Silumgar Sorcerer with the Essence Scatter on a stick. I mean, both of us can agree that counter spells attached to bodies are probably the new way for control decks to operate. Or just like you said, the Jeskai Aggro decks, you have to get tricky. Yeah. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this card in the Jeskai... Well, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of Silumgar Sorcerer in the Jeskai Aggro decks as much as I am a fan of Stratus Dancer, as it seems easier to cast. Yeah. Especially when we have, the Mystic Monasteries and things like that.
Yeah, I think Stratus Dancer is a pretty good card in that deck. I know Matt Costa and Chase Kovac and stuff like that were playing a Jeskai Aggro deck last weekend in Syracuse with some Stratus Dancers, some Iceball Regents. So definitely has seen some Fringe standard play. I know Shaheen Sarani also had it in his Esper sideboard.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of them in the top 8 here at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, it just seems like a card that people are just once again waiting to answer. And you see guys in Twitch chat here talking about Mystic Snake. A huge card. Mystic Snake was a great card. I saw a ton of play. My second pick. What do you think about old Korasi Deceiver?
I don't know what this is about.
All right, so hear me out.
I don't even know if this is a good limited card.
Hear me out. For 2 mana, you get an 0/4.
Okay.
You may tap to add a colorless to your mana
read
pool.
The text on the card?
I am. Listen, you can then spend the mana only to cast face-down creatures, pay a mana cost to turn manifested creatures face up, or pay a morph cost.
Yeah, that is what the card does.
Okay, all right. So now that
why is it good? Or why
here's why I think this card is good. Okay, so for a little bit, do you remember during recent SCG Opens, we saw a blue-green Manifest Morph deck. Played cards like Sagu Mauler.
I remember seeing a green-white.
Played Ice Feather Avian.
All right.
Okay, so this is the type of deck that I envision this card being a part of. Along with, later on when we see the green standard playmakers, you'll see the follow-up card to this.
Oh, man, this is a combo with something?
It is.
Is that like a Deathness Raptor or something?
Well, not even that, but look what it's doing for our Stratus Dancer. I mean, Korasi Deceiver's getting in there.
Oh,
Look
man,
what it's doing for our Sagu Maulers.
Jeez, look at that, dude.
And not only this,
it costs 2 now? So we had to pay 2 mana to play a terrible 0-4 that we're...
It's an 0-4.
I guess it blocks some stuff.
It blocks a lot.
But, like, it doesn't even block that well, because if we're casting morphs and stuff, we have to tap it in the main phase to cast our morphs.
But what I'm really getting at here is this is just another card to fit in kind of that blue-green fringe deck that'll allow them to, I think, step their game up a little bit, because it does so much. It allows you to pay for the morph face down. It allows you to pay for the morph flip up. It allows you to pay for a manifested card to turn face up. It does so much in an 0-4 blue 2-drop in this blue-green kind of morph deck.
I don't know. I think there are better 2-drops in this blue-green.
I think this card's sweet. And not only
this
that,
card stinks, and I'm almost prepared to like make some silly bet with you, where it's like I'll buy the shop out of like every single one of these copies.
Sure.
If
we see one today?
No, not if we see one today. Because you're just going to walk around the room and find somebody that's crazy enough to play this card?
Yeah, and then just put it on. Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
I'd say something like it makes the top 8 of the tournament.
Oh, jeez. Come on. Korasi Deceiver. It's so new, though. The tech is so new. But, I mean, do you not want to flip up a Sagu Mauler just a turn earlier?
I don't know. I do not want to flip up a Sagu Mauler.
Sagu Mauler's huge!
Yeah, that's why I don't want to flip it up.
Oh, jeez. All right. So maybe you don't like my Korasi Deceiver tech.
That was a terrible one.
That was not a good... I think it was a fun pick.
It's no wonder you got yelled at.
Oh, jeez. Whatever. Well, you know what? We'll figure it out later. Well, we've got 13 minutes left in the round. That was round 1. Over surprisingly fast with the aggro decks.
Yeah.
So definitely quick. It looks like some other players are finishing up here. Big turnout today here for SCG Indy States. So, guys, we'll probably be back with you in the next 12 minutes, a little bit sooner if we get the round pairings before time is over. But I can still see some games going on. So we'll peruse the hall and come back, see what we can do. Stay tuned. It's gonna be
fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Round 1 was fun, so hopefully rounds 2 through 7, and then the top 8 is fun.
Yeah, top 8 will be exciting. I can't wait for that. So guys, stay tuned. Put the beer right back up.